All right, great Wednesday, workday Wednesday, man, getting ready for Florida State. Great preparation, had a lot of good things happen. Continuing to seeing some young guys, in competition Tuesday. Elijah Sabatini's continuing to come on. Kobe Cage and Jalen Sims, some of them young linebackers, they're making a tremendous impact in the special teams. JQ Gray's a guy that continues to come on, is pushing. Avery White's really stepped up, in the absence of Cole, him and Justin Reed. Tremont Henry's another young guy that's battling through and starting to learn the way we do things. Going to be a good player. And D'Amico Rowland's a D lineman, is continuing to improve. So, we had a great competition Tuesday. We continue to improve, and that's what we got to do. That's why you practice. And we got a long season in front of us. We got a great opponent this week. With that, I'll open it up.
Coach, I might have missed it, but is there an update on Cole?
No update. He's got a muscle strain, and he's working with Todd and the trainers, and we hope to get him back, as soon as possible. He's day to day. They're doing everything they can to get him back as quick as they can.
Guess bouncing off that, Kenyon Clay still nursing his injuries. Is he going to be playing this weekend?
Day to day, don't know. Day to day, don't know on him.
Could you speak to maybe some of the competition that's on the O-line that came out of the summer that's continuing to develop, like Matt Riles at right guard, things of that nature? Y'all a little flip yesterday.
Yeah, Matt Riles is really pushing at right guard, pushing John Bolding at right guard. Gabe Cavazos is a young left tackle that's going to be a really good player. James Middleton played well at right tackle. Drew Lawson's a young center. Luke Rogers is a young center. It's going to be a great player for us. And so those are some guys that are pushing our older starters every day to where our older starters know they got to get better. They got to keep going because them young guys, man, they can play. And so it's most depth we've had on O-line in a while, so we're excited about our O-line and what they can bring to the table this season.
Just taking a deeper dive at Billy's first start as college quarterback, what were your overall impressions? What you saw from him?
Yeah, I thought he played really well. Not just well for a first-time starter, just well for anybody. His eyes were right on every pass play. He was on time. He was really accurate. He only had 2 bad plays, really. The interception, was a miscommunication between him and Brandon Hayes. A little bit on Brandon Hayes. He can't double release him like that. Billy, he showed an outside release, and Billy threw it that way, and then Brandon jumped inside. But Billy probably threw it a little too quick, too. And then he had a pull in the red zone. On a zone read where he's got to pull it and run, not pull to throw the screen. Outside of that, man, he played awesome. Really awesome. And he was accurate, he was on time, and his eyes were right.
What's just the dynamic or challenge of, making sure guys are getting up for this game, just knowing how big of an opportunity it is, but also just on the other side, not getting too caught up in the moment and letting it get to them?
Yeah, it's not a challenge to get them ready to play because it's an awesome opportunity. To a lot of our guys feel like they are worthy of playing in that game that Florida State played in the other day, a top 10 matchup. A lot of our guys have NFL aspirations. They're graded as NFL players. So a lot of our kids, feel like they belong in that moment. And we pump that to them all the time because they do. We just had 4 guys off last year's team make NFL rosters. So it's a chance to prove yourself. And so you don't have to worry about getting them up for it. Mm-hmm. It's, I think this game is going to cause growth for our program. It's going to prepare us for the rest of the season. Win or lose, it's going to put us in a championship-type environment and a championship-type game before we have to play championship-type games later on in the season. So we're looking forward to the opportunity and going there and playing Southern Miss football.
What have you kind of seen on the film from Jordan Travis?
Well, I watch him all the time because, Mike, I watch all of Mike's games every year. Me and I'm sure they watch ours. Similar minds, similar ways to attack. It's been fun to watch him grow. I know Mike really believed in him a few years ago after his first year there. He told me, I can remember him telling me, he said, I've got me a winner. We just got to continue to develop him, but he's a winner in the way he approaches every day. So it's been fun to watch Travis grow. His quarterback coach, Tony Tokars, who I've got great respect for. I worked with him at Memphis as well. And Tony and Mike have done a great job with Jordan, and Jordan's done a great job of working. He's become a complete quarterback. He's gone from being a great athlete to being a great quarterback. And I think he's one of the best players in college football. I really do.
Just kind of off that, just watching them last week and even last year, one of the best counter football teams in the country.
Oh, yeah, they run counter. Mike loves it. Mike, that's his play, man. He loves it. They're great at teaching it. Alex Atkins, his O-line coach, a great coach, who was at Tulane right before I was there. Him and Sam Gregg go way back as good friends, and they do a great job teaching GT counter, and they're awesome at running it.
You coached one season with Coach Novak?
Yes. Yeah.
Was there a prior connection with you guys?
Yes, yeah. So he played at Central Arkansas when I played at North Alabama, so we were in the same conference.
Okay.
He was a really good player, so we knew of each other. And then my college roommate was Chip Long, who worked with him for a long time at Arizona State in Memphis.
Division II football, kind of both being in those ranks. I wonder if there's, just the different perspective that provides a college football coach. And I know you were in it for several years.
Yeah, 14.
That development of players and how different.
Yeah, I think it makes you a better recruiter and a better evaluator. You've got to figure out what exactly you need at each position within your scheme and what you do not have to have. Because, when you're at D2, you're not going to get the 5-star that's really big, really fast, really strong, and developed. You know what I mean? You're going to have to decide, hey, at this position, I've got to have size, but I can skimp on speed a little bit. Or at this position, I've got to have speed, but I can slide on size. This position, I've got to have length, but I can skimp on height, and it helps you learn, how to recruit and develop. And they've done a phenomenal job, at Florida State. And we feel like we're doing a really, really good job here.
What do you think just a win on Saturday could do for the trajectory of this program?
Yeah, I mean, you can't even measure it. You can't even measure that. There's no way to measure that. It would catapult us back to, it would cause us to leapfrog and skip about 4 or 5 steps towards getting back to trying to be the best Group of 5 program in America. So yeah, you can't. There's no way to measure that. It would be immeasurable.
Anything else for Coach?
Good.
I didn't get to talk to you after the game, but your thoughts on how things went for you guys last week with your defense, and kind of maybe how you had to, you called it.
Yeah, so it was a little different to start the game just because they came out in a different personnel grouping and started to create some sets that they would create out of different personnel groups. So it was just kind of trying to ID the formation first, and then I thought our kids adjusted well. They gave us some different looks. We were able to get lined up. You try to give them as many looks in practice, so by the time you get to the game, the kids naturally can see it and ID it and be able to know how to fit it. But obviously for the most part, I thought we did really good against the run. We gave up the one long touchdown and then the one later in the game. Our mentality is doesn't matter who's in the game, we don't want to give up points. So it was a little disappointing there at the end to give up 7 because we missed 3 tackles on that play. Really we tackled well throughout the game. Our communication between players and coaches on the sideline was great. They were able to tell us what was happening out there, so we were able to make adjustments. We didn't give up a converted first down until late in the third quarter when they completed that third down on us. I was really pleased with how they played. We knew they were going to try to run the ball. We didn't know how they were going to try to run it, but we knew they were going to run it. And to be able to ID it early and decipher it and get it corrected on the sideline, get it fixed, really helped us out there.
What kind of happened when you watched the tape on that 75-yard touchdown play?
Well, they blocked it a little different than we initially thought it was the first time. Usually when teams run power read, they don't read the edge piece. What they were doing is they were reading the linebacker. So they ended up sealing the edge guy, and our backer tried to get over the top. We didn't get good enough hands on the edge with Jaleel right there. If we get hands on the tackle, then TQ is going to be able to scrape tight and be able to fit the quarterback. But we didn't get hands on, so the tackle wheeled back and pinned TQ out, and then they pinned Jaleel with the guard pull right there, and the quarterback was able to hit it right in the crease, and then Jay Stanley's just got to stay behind the ball as a post safety there.
Speak to anybody in that game that kind of stood out to you. Obviously, Jay was great. Can you speak to some guys that kind of stood out to you in that game?
Yeah, obviously Jay Stanley had a great game. I mean, I think our front guys are first round of rotational guys played really well. In terms of Bivens, Rat, Jalen, those guys played really well. Swayze Hayes played really well. Jalen played well. So really our ones and part of our 2 deep I thought played really well. We got a lot of young guys in there, which is great because you get game experience with them. Dylan Lawrence and Sabatini kind of split some time. Partially that was because I wasn't sure what personnels we were going to get because we had our other personnel packages, so I didn't want to get in a situation where Dylan was completely gassed to where he couldn't go. So I was trying to make sure those guys were fresh in case we had to get to our dime stuff there. But they didn't give us any of that, so we just kind of rotated as we did throughout the game. Jay played really the first 2 quarters and maybe a drive in the third quarter, and then I took him out. So same thing with Dylan, but it allowed Sab to get in there and get some reps. Hayes Puckett went in there and played some free safety for Jay Stanley, made some plays. He's a guy that's really flashed out here. Really, really improved his tackling. So, he'll give us a backup there. Really, that's about all I can think of in terms of that. But
Saw Jalen Sims flash at times, kind of where he's coming, and your thoughts in that game for him.
yeah, I thought Jalen played well. He's a really fast. He's slippery when you pressure with him. And he's got the ability to make plays in space, which is huge at that position, especially for a Mike linebacker in this defense. Known more as in this defense is known more as a thumper than he is a athletic guy, but he brings a little different style of play to that Mike position.
I know Alcorn didn't really challenge all that much through the air, and Florida State's definitely going to challenge all a lot through the air. So, is that kind of a concern, or?
Well, I think with these guys, everything's a concern. They got two receivers that are 6'4" plus on the perimeter. That are tough guys to defend in jump ball situations. They came out this last game and created some different formational looks out of different personnel groupings that they really haven't shown in the past with their new tight end they got out of South Carolina. So, with that, it's just going to be about IDing what they're trying to do for the game, because they're going to have their package for the game, and we got to figure it out early, and we got to try to ID it and make adjustments on the sidelines fast. The quarterback's an elite level talent. He is what he is. If we can't contain him, we're going to struggle. You watched it, you saw it on Sunday night. LSU couldn't contain him, and it killed him. Yeah. He's able to extend plays with the legs, and again, you got those big receivers down the field that they can throw up jump balls, and those guys can go make plays. So it's going to be a challenge. We know that. They got a lot of experience up front at the offensive line, so it's a great opportunity for us. But they're a top 5 opponent. Obviously we went down to Alabama a couple years ago, and it wasn't the prettiest game. So hopefully we can see where we're at when we get down there. And I know our guys are going to go out and take the most of this opportunity. So I'm not really worried about that. It's just we got to be able to tackle well. Their backs are really good at making people miss. Obviously the quarterback's really elusive, so we got to find a way to keep him in the pocket. When we do pressure, we got to be able to cover, and we got to win one-on-ones on the outside, like we already talked about with the receivers. They're basketball players.
Right. What's it like to game plan against a team with this many weapons? You don't see this that often in the Sun Belt, obviously.
Yeah, so it's not easy. You got to find a way to not necessarily create negatives, but you got to keep them behind the sticks as much as you can. So you got to get them on 1st and 10. You got to find a way to get it to 3 yards or less on a run. You got to get them to 2nd and long to where maybe it changes their mindset on what they want to do, throwing or running the ball, and try to call it off of that as the game goes on. You got to do different things in coverage. You got to mix up the looks on this quarterback, because I think if we can mix up the looks a little bit, maybe it's going to give us a chance to force a mistake by him. But he's an elite level talent, so he's played a lot of football and a lot of really good football. So,
kind of just watching him play last week, really physical counter team. I think the level of physicality is going to be a different animal. Kind of what's your messages to your guys?
Yeah, we got to come out early. We got to start fast, and we got to play physical. That's what we've always been known for here. So we've got to be physical at the point of attack and at the line of scrimmage. We got to try to, as best we can, create a new line of scrimmage. Coach Hall and what they do on offense is very similar to what they do on offense, so we get a good look at it every day in practice. Obviously, they give us, a different picture of it in terms of formationally, but it's a very similar style of play, very similar scheme, very similar route concept. So, we got to do a great job at deciphering the plays and what we see and execute.
Obviously, a great challenge, but I wonder about how much of a great opportunity it is for your football team. And I think about guys like Jay Stanley, guys who want to go to the NFL. This is a great opportunity for them to see what they.
Yeah, absolutely. Coach Hall talked about it yesterday at practice about, probably every NFL team's going to have a scout there. They're going to be there. They're going to probably be there watching more so Florida State's players, but at the same time, it's a chance for our guys to go up against this possible NFL talent and prove themselves. So, I think our guys are excited. They're excited about the opportunity to go out there and show what we're really about here and show what Southern Miss is now in comparison to where we were 2 years ago when we went to Alabama.
Do you kind of view this game just as like a measuring stick where maybe you're going to learn a lot about what your team is, maybe even more so than against Alcorn State last week?
Yeah, it's a measuring stick, but you want to win every game. You don't want to just chalk it up as, hey, that's a moral victory, right? No, we're going to try to win every game we can. You know, we're not going to overdo it in terms of we're not going to do silly stuff and create new stuff here and there. We're gonna try to be sound as best we can, and we're gonna go out there and compete. That's what we do. That's what we want to be. You go back and look at last year with the Sun Belt teams. I mean, they upset a lot of people. So anything's possible in college football. You know, any given Saturday, anything's possible. So we're gonna go out there and we're gonna try to win a game. That's what we're gonna do. We know what the challenge is. We know it's a top 5 team, but you know, we're not gonna go out there and tuck our tail between our legs and take a moral victory. We're gonna go out there and try to win one.
I wanted to ask you about Markel McLaurin and just the growth you've seen in him over his time here, and just how much an improved player he is, what you've seen this fall from Markel.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Markel, probably one of the most improved guys in the secondary in terms of where he was in the spring. You know, coming out of spring, we weren't necessarily sure if he was the answer, and then, you know, you get to the summer and you can see the benefits of him spending extra time on his craft and taking the extra time to practice his footwork, his hand placement, and his cover skills. So, you know, I think between that and fall camp, you know, moving Jay Jones there adds a little bit more competition, so it makes him step his game up. But no, Markel's been great to have. You know, he's been fun to coach. He's a great kid, great attitude, great mindset, and you know, he's a competitor. So I'm real excited with where he's at. But yeah, he's done a great job of focusing in on his craft and trying to get better every day.
Thanks, Coach.
Appreciate it, guys.